buddies, or crafting buddies, as the case may be. It's Late Night Lori coming to you as Lori's Little Bit of Craftin on Tuesday, June 24th, and it is 11:16 p.m. here in Wisconsin, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, and you're here for, not an echo, you're here for some leftovers, right? Sunrise sailing is going to happen again tonight. Here's the card I made last night. Pretty quick and easy. We did a faux layer where I put a mask on here and used my blending brush to create the illusion rather of having a layer in there without using any extra cardstock. And I had fun with this, so we're gonna make another one. I've made quite a few cards with this set, so we're going to do a little bit more with these two dies and try to use up the leftover of my little sailboats. So let's move some of this stuff out of the way and glue our little sailboats together. Got my other device on in case anybody happens to join me live so I can try to watch for comments. Now the last time I used these, I made double sailboat die cuts. Not the sails, but the boat itself, because this little mast pole or whatever that is kind of fragile. You can kind of see how these are bending a little bit. Once we get them on our card, it'll be fine. So we'll just get these glued together quick so that we have fewer moving parts. And again, I have not done a prototype. I am kind of casing Stampin' Up's online samples where they provided some tags. And I thought, well, I don't really need a tag, but I thought I could create the same thing into a card. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do the card. And hopefully, I know I say this all the time, it'll be quick and easy. So we'll see how quickly I can get done. I have a couple of things to do tomorrow. I actually had a relatively low-key day today. We have family in from out of town, but we didn't get together with them today. They're staying with other family, and the other family is kind of like the social gathering place. So we didn't see them today, but we'll probably be full swing for the next few days. So those are our in color little sailboats. So we've got Secret Sea and Cloud Cover, Timid Tiger, Strawberry Slush, and Darling Duckling. I repeat them more for myself to remind myself what those new colors are. They just came out last month. So I kind of need to remind myself from time to time what the colors are. Now, Crumb Cake used to be one of my real go-to colors for cardstock, and I have found that I am not using it as much as I used to. So we're going to use Crumb Cake tonight. I take my 8.5 by 11 cardstock, I score it at 4 1/4, and then I cut once so that I have my 2 card bases. If you've watched my videos before, you've probably heard me mention that. And then even though I score it here, I'm going to go ahead and burnish that fold because I like it to lay pretty flat. And then the other thing we're going to do is we are going to use some two-tone cardstock. This is Pool Party, and I have not used this a whole lot. I mean, I've used it some, but not a whole lot. So hopefully you can see the difference in color. All right. So we have one side is dark and one side is light. So this is basically a white core paper because it's just printed on each side. The color is printed rather than dyed through like most of our other cardstock that's got this color going all the way through. All right. So you can kind of see the dark and the light. So this is Pool Party. And I have cut a few pieces of those, of that color rather. And we are going to use this die to make some waves. All right. Now I've already gone ahead and cut a bunch of those. And what I did was I cut 2 of them with the dark side up and then 2 of them with the light side up. And when you do that, and I think I did my pieces just like 2 inches, and I'll need to cut them down to 4 1/4. But I cut them that way because I don't want the rough end or the rough side. I didn't just want to take them and cut them all straight and then flip them over because the edges are different, if that makes sense. I'm sure it does. All right. But then when you use these dies, and let's say this is the one I used. I don't know that it is. But when you cut these, there's only cutting edge on the top or the bottom, however you're looking at it. And then the straight edge does not have cutting edge on it. So if we went like this, and we'll take a light piece, it would create this. All right, so when we take it through our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, this is what we're left with. And what you can do is you can take this and create waves as well. So I may have another leftover project, you know, a project using leftovers. But I'm going to go ahead and just use these that have the more decorative waves. Okay. So let me get some of these things put out of the way, because otherwise I get too much of a mess, and I am a messy stamper. I apologize for that, but I usually know where my things are. All right, we are going to use the seagull in here, I think is about it. And the sentiment, I'm using the beautiful motifs and just having celebrate. I'm not going to finish the inside of the card tonight. You can finish the insides however you want, but I will probably use it as a birthday card. So what I want to do then is get my trimmer out, and we are going to cut these down to 4 1/4. So I'm just going to kind of stack these like so, and we're going to end up putting our little sailboats in here. And I think I will do 3 on one, and then I will save 2 of these to make either a tag or another card. So I just need to decide what colors I want. And let's move my two-sided, two-tone cardstock because that was slipping all over. All right. So we're going to do that. Now I think what I'll do, the sample that Stampin' Up! Provided had the crumb cake at the top and the bottom of their tag. And to me, I guess that kind of works because this could kind of be like the sand or the beach. And I don't want to add too many more colors, like to put a sky color up here, like balmy blue or something. I don't know how that would look. So we're just going to kind of do this. We're going to do our little sentiment, that celebrate, and I'm going to stamp that a few times so that we can have that on there, and just kind of, we'll see how it looks. So we'll have those for the sentiment. So what I did with these when I cut them out, let's just move these little sailboats. When I took that die, I did kind of an angle one way and kind of an angle another way, so that we could get a little wave action there. All right. You can do it however your eye prefers. All right. So if I trim these down to 4 1/4, because I want them to be the width of the card, Normally what I will do is flip it so I've got the straight edge up here. Hopefully you can see that. So that I've got that track that'll just stop this, all right? So if I've got 4 1/4, that'll leave an open loop on this side and an open loop on this side. So I'm good with that. So let's do this one at 4 1/4. That'll leave it open. That's going to be closed. And I don't know if there's really a way I can avoid that. So I guess I just won't put too much thought into this. Sometimes I make things a little more difficult than they need to be. And this one, I kind of put, I don't know if you can see that. I didn't cut it exactly straight so you can see some of that white core, and it's not going to matter because I'll make that one of the lower or the hidden part of the layers. Okay, so we'll just put that in there. Linda Gums. For sea sailing friend or family. Yeah, do you have any sea sailing friends or family, Linda? I know Paul's got a boat, but it hasn't been out yet this year. So let's go ahead and put these layers again. So we've got the darker side and then the lighter side. And I'm just going to lay these out before I start gluing them, because I want to make sure I have my layout right. And it looks like I cut this one crooked. Or maybe I was just laying it on there crooked. It's probably just me. All right, so let's go ahead and stamp our Celebrate and tuck our little sailboats so we can see how far down we need these little things. I was going to call them little puppies, but they're work. All right, and then let's do the Celebrate. Ooh, in Secret Sea. And I'm going to do that pretty close to the top. I guess I don't really need 3, because what I'm going to do is cut these pretty close. And those all turned out pretty good. So I guess we don't need that. I'm going to close up this for right now. I'm going to get my little trimmer out here. And we're just going to trim off these extra little bits around here. And this is an old guillotine trimmer that Stampin' Up! Had as a joining bonus. Linda, did you get one of these little trimmers when you joined? I don't remember what you were able to take advantage of. I really like my little trimmer. Comes in handy. And you can't buy it anymore, but I'm not gonna not use mine because I do like it. Now this, we'll see how straight I get it. I guess that wasn't too bad. Not too bad. Oh, that was pretty crooked. And I probably won't be able to get it straight. I should have probably taken it a little bit slower. Sometimes with these little pieces I need to go fast so it cuts through, and sometimes I need to go slow. So I don't know if it's because of the cardstock or if it's just me. Oh, well, but the boho Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine was a pretty good deal too. All right. So these I'm just going to randomly put on here. And then I'm thinking the seagull, maybe I should put some blue up there. Linda, what do you think? We've got crumb cake down at the bottom to create the illusion of sand. And then the sailboats in the water, and that's pool party. And then if I put the seagulls up here, it's going to look like there's brown sky. Maybe I'll just get a little swath of balmy blue or something and see how it looks. Oh, a cutting and scoring tool. Wouldn't that be fun? That would be cool. So let's get a little bit of balmy blue. But then there's no land on it either. This is a tough call. All right, with or without the blue? No, I want my seagulls on there though. Let's stamp some seagulls and just see how they look. Sometimes it's just a matter of trial and error. So if we put these, maybe I should just do 2 boats. Maybe it's just too much. If I scrunch these together a little bit. Two boats or 3 boats? I can still put 3 celebrates on there. We could do that like that. Oh, that might kind of work. What do you think of that? The little bit of blue, yeah, it makes a little bit of difference. And we could just wrap some twine. Let's say we put the twine inside. I probably need to glue it all together so it doesn't all move too much. But we could wrap it a few times and just do like a square knot. All right, let's start gluing some of these things together and we'll see how it looks. I think what I'll do is leave a very little bit of the crumb cake up there just for a little bit of balance maybe. And I'm going to start with this top piece, and I better shut my ink so that I don't end up an inky mess. All right. A little bit of glue. And like I said, I'm just going to put a little bit of a border. It's probably not even a 1/16 of an inch, but it might be. Yeah, 2 boats makes it look a little less cluttered. And I think there's a little bit of a delay from my iPad. So when you leave a comment, I might not see it right away. So if we do these, we could put these a little closer together. And then a boat in this one. And a boat in this one. And then these little celebrates we'll just randomly put on here. So that one can go up there. I think I'll go ahead and put an adhesive strip on there. Because that'll just be easier than putting a bunch of dimensionals on it. I usually use these for my shaker cards, and I almost thought about doing a shaker card. Well, I shouldn't say I almost thought about it. I thought about doing a shaker card tonight and almost did it, but then changed my mind. All right, so let's go ahead and put this one here. I've had the house to myself tonight because Paul did actually go and meet up with the family later this evening after we had done some running, and I decided to stay home. So I took my friend's advice and I said no. Sound familiar, Linda? And this one we'll do there. We're going to do that one without a boat in those waves. And we'll just see how this looks. All right. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put this down without the sailboat, but I'm not going to glue along where those, like the scalloped is. Is there a way to make the bottom wave a bit less straight edge like here? There is. There is actually. I could use another piece of the two-tone cardstock. So that's what I'm using. I don't know if you were on, whoops, and I wasn't going to put, oh, I wasn't going to put glue up that high. See, I wasn't paying attention. So we're just going to wipe some of that off right now. And I think we should be okay. Oh yeah, that's good. Phew, I caught it in time. So if we put this one here, this boat can go kind of tucked in there. And I'll attach that later, but we're gonna kind of work with this a little bit. So here I can take, so when we cut these with the die, it only has cutting on one edge. So this is like a leftover piece. So I can put this like here, or do you think it should go probably, oh no, because you were thinking it should be light. Maybe I should use the same color. And then I could kind of camouflage it with the Celebrate. And maybe, what if I put the twine, the baker's twine, around here? And then when we put this on, I could camouflage it. Good idea, Linda. All right, we're going to go with that. And I'm going to do the same color. I'm going to do the same color. So let's go ahead and put a little bit of glue down on this edge. See, that's why I like having people pop in and leave comments, because we can collaborate and make something fun. All right, that ought to work. And then I'll just trim that extra and we should be fine. Get rid of those. All right, so that will kind of go like that. What do you think of that? Oops. All right, so if this goes up here, and then this one, I love this paper. This is the in color. Or should I do the dark one down here? And that'll give it a little bit of separation from the seagulls. This could probably come down a little bit further, huh? That's a lot of water in there now, though. Of course, I could always put one of these in there to give it a little more depth, too. Yeah, you can hardly see that, though. I don't think that piece makes a whole lot of difference on here. It does make it look a little more beachy. I agree. I agree. All right, so I think I'm going to put that around there. But let's go ahead and put this twine on here. I'm just going to wrap it around a couple of times here. And then we'll try to make a square knot. I probably should have cut that before I thought about tying my knot. So let's just see how this looks. square knot doesn't show a whole lot, but I think if we put another one of the celebrates down here, and our ship, our little sailboat here. So I think this sailboat over here looks better because it goes between the two seagulls. Shouldn't be this difficult, right? There, I think that'll work. And then we can put a celebrate there and a celebrate there. I kind of like it. So let's go ahead and trim these off. We'll save these for another card. We'll have leftovers another night. I like it. I like it. I'm going to put these, the sails on dimensionals, but I'll put the base of the boat glued to the front. And we're going to glue a little bit down here. That should be all right. So this is raised a little bit because of the baker's twine. And I'm thinking maybe I should leave it there because it'll look like the water is splashing up on the beach. I kind of like it. And then we're going to go ahead and fray the ends of these, I think. If I can get my take your pick tool in there. I might want to make those a little smaller, we'll see. Or shorter. I guess smaller wasn't a good way to say it. Because that square knot doesn't, it's not real obvious because the baker's twine is pretty thin. So we're going to take a little bit more off of there. There. It'll be kind of beachy-ish. We'll fray that a little bit more maybe. There. All right, so let's see what else we have to attach here. We're going to put this up on a strip. Oops. Guess it helps if I would put the stickier side down. So we'll put this one over here. This one, I guess that'll work. I don't even need to cut it. I like the adhesive strips. Like I was saying, I usually use them for my shaker cards. And I almost did a shaker card tonight. And here I think what I'll do is just get some mini dimensionals. Yeah, I think the 3 sailboats would have been just a little too much for the card. I could always put one of the sailboats on the inside because the next card I make, or if I recreate this one, I'm still not going to need 3 sailboats. But the lighter one, the cloud cover one, might be good for the inside. Let's get... see if I can get these all off. Oops, and then I just broke the bottom of the boat off. I told you they were fragile. That's all right. All right, let's work with the Secret C one first. Glue that one down. Hopefully I won't break that one in the process. But on one of my last projects, I did 2 layers of just, I'll show you. I did 2 or 3 layers of just the ship base, or the sailboat rather, and glued them together so that there was more stability for the base of the boat. Oh, Yeah, I guess, couldn't remember if we were doing the dark one up there or the light one. I guess we're doing the dark one here now. All right. And then let's see where this goes. I should probably just glue this first. Right about there will work. I don't really think it'll show much. Hopefully it won't show at all. So we'll just tuck this in a little bit. And then I'm gonna take this off of my glass mat. I'm just gonna put a little glue down here too, so that when we press it down, it'll hold on. And I think I'm gonna take this dimensional off so that it won't be pulling up quite so hard. All right, and I'm just gonna hold that for a minute. Okay, what do you think? I think that's kind of fun. Kind of fun. And then on the inside, I'll put probably like these waves. Maybe with a layer of the balmy blue. I can put some of these waves on there. With a layer of basic white. So I can put my little message in there. We'll do that with some basic white, and we can put one of these on the inside. Maybe I will use a brighter one. Of course, it won't matter once I get the white card stuck in there, and I don't have a scrap right here. I think that'll look cute in there. And then I'll trim that off, obviously, so it'll work. But I'll have the white in there with maybe a little bit of balmy blue at the top. So, do we need some embellishments? Or are we good with the twine, the baker's twine? There's a lot going on there, but there might be... I have the antique pearls, or we could do the flat dots. I think I want something more subtle. Maybe some of these. If I colored them, let me get the Pool Party blends. And let's color a couple of these. Maybe. I wonder if this is, no, there's still color in there. That's not adding too much color. Let me go get the dark one and see if the dark will make more color. Grab the balmy blue too, just in case. That gives us a little bit of subtle color. I think the very vanilla ones, or basic beige, those might be basic beige. I think those color don't give a very good effect. But I think those will be okay. Just the hint of color on there. So the dark Pool Party alcohol blend worked. Now you can't do this with the markers because the markers are water-based. They won't dry properly. And they won't stain the embellishment. You need the alcohol blends to do that. So let's just put, whoops, put a few of these randomly on the card here. And we'll just fill up some of those blank spots. That's kind of fun. All right. And it didn't take too awful long. I guess I still chit-chatted for about half an hour here, but I will finish the inside of this. I will post a picture on my Facebook page, which is Lori's Little Bit of Crafting as well. If you're inspired to make a card based on what we've done here tonight, feel free to make a comment there and add a picture of what you make. I always like seeing what other people make, and it's a good way to share ideas. So I'll finish this off and I'll put pictures of the front and the inside on there. Well, thanks for helping, Linda. Thanks for popping on with me. And that's all I've got for tonight. So until next time, happy crafting. Maybe it's happy crafting. I might be live for a while. I can't get this to turn off. All right, well, I will figure it out. Thanks for popping in, everybody. I will see you next time. It could be because my battery's almost dead. Let's see if I can plug it into... Well, it'll end eventually, I suppose. Or it might not end. Well, I had technical difficulties when I started, and now I have technical difficulties when I'm ending. Figures, right? People are going to think my video is like 4 hours long because it won't end.